Okay, let's get started. Right here I have an empty Git repository, so now let's init our package, npm init, and let's install restify as a dependency. And as soon as that has finished, we will create two empty files, one for the server and another one for our products controller. Okay, here we go. And we'll fire up our editor and start with the implementation of our server. So first we have to require restify. And let's load our product controller from the local file. And let's define the port where our server is actually running on. And provide 3000 as a default port. Restify is offering a simple API that you can use to create a server and configure middlewares and expose REST endpoints. So let's create the server right now. You can configure the server by providing a simple JSON object, providing all the options. For now, let's just define a name. And let's continue with a simple middleware. Middlewares are just pure functions in JavaScript, which take the request, the response, and the next function that you can use to push the call to the next middleware, or finish it by setting an HTTP status code or provide some result that will be returned to the caller of the API. But for now, let's just print out the method that was incoming in combination with the actual URL. And let's forward the call to the next middleware by returning next. Providing or defining REST endpoints is pretty simple, so you could just say server.get for exposing and get endpoint, providing the URI, API/products, and give it another middleware that will be called immediately after the call passes all the middlewares that has been defined before. So for us that will be products.get. Let's copy that one and define our other endpoints, which is get product by ID, post to create a new one, put to change an existing one, and delete to delete an existing product. And let's add a plural at that side. And in order to edit the product, we also need the ID of the actual product. So this is put, this is del for delete, this is post, and this is also get. In order to deal with the message payload that is sent to our REST API, we need to hook up another middleware. So we say server.use restify.bodyparser. And finally, we have to start our server by calling server.listen on our port, and as soon as the server is running, we would like to print out a short message. Okay, that's it. So let's now move to our product, and let's create a small product controller. let's expose a new instance of that controller by using model expose equals new products controller. And let's build an in-place, in-memory storage for our products. And let's define all the methods that we've called earlier under server.js. So there is a get method, which is also just a middleware. Let's copy that one because we need that each and every time. Post, put, and finally delete. And we'll create a small helper method. Find product by ID equals function. And right here we will pull the ID of the product that we're looking for from the request parameters, which is every single part in the URI that we defined with, like here, for ID. So let's say found equals that point star. And as soon as the ID of one of the objects in our store matches the URI parameter, we will define that object as found. So return p.id equals pass in to ensure that we have an integer value. Get is the simplest call that we're offering, so we're just returning all the data from the store. So we could just call res.send, set the status to 200 and provide all data from our store. And finally call return.next. Get by ID, we will call our helper method, find product by ID, pass in the request. And as soon as found is set to some object, we know that we found anything, and we could return it that way. If found is empty or undefined, we will send a 404 and provide a short message like product not found. And finally again return next. Post is a little bit different, so we have to look into the request and double check if all the values are provided that we need. So for example, let's say our product is composed of an ID and a name. We have to double check and verify that all incoming calls have those properties in their payload. So let's say if request the body has own property, if not has an ID or not request.body has own property name, that's res and 500. And return next. If everything is fine, we would say that store push and provide a new object, and finally say res.send to 1 for created, and let's move return next right after the if switch, and let's say ID equals to parse int and let's save the name. Okay, that's it for actually creating a new product. Finally, let's implement how to update an existing product. Right here we do again a check if request body has own property name. If not, we send again send 500 and return X. If name is provided, we look for the product by the provided ID. So let's say product by ID request. If we found a product, we set the name of the product to request body.name, res send 200 and provide the updated product as a payload for the response. If we don't find a product by the ID, we just send 404 and product not found. And finally return next. Last but not least, we will take care about the delete operation. Right here we just provide a simple implementation where we just update the entire store and filter all products that their ID is not matching the provided ID. So let's say store equals that.store and just to give you a simple implementation, we're just filtering out the product and returning 200, no matter if a product with ID is really existing in that array. In a real implementation, you would have to double check if the ID is part of, or if there is a product with that ID in your data storage, and if not, you have to provide a 404. But that's fine for now. Return next. And that's it. That's our entire REST implementation. Let's double check that. Okay, that looks fine. Let's move over to Postman and give it a try. So we're pointing to our API, and let's try the get method. And right here we're just getting an empty array. So let's try to create a new one. And we would like to provide some JSON. ID equals 1, name is book 1. We got a 201 created. Let's double check again. Scroll get, and here we go. So get all is working. Let's try get specific. Here we go. And right now let's try our put. So we want to update the product with ID 1 and provide a new name for it. Part 1, send that. We got the updated product back. Let's double check it by again calling the get. Yep, that's right. And finally, let's try our delete route. Get a 200. Let's try to get all. Get an empty array. And if we try to access product with ID 1, we will get a 404 product not found. So as you can see, it's pretty straightforward and really easy to implement a REST API using restify. I hope you enjoyed it and give it a try by yourself.